Okay, what's going on, guys? So I suck at making consistent videos. It's been Lord knows how long since I've made my last video, and I was kind of in the mood, let me make another one. So I just, not recently, but a couple months ago, back in August, I just bagged this car, put it on Airlift Performance struts and everything, or all airlift parts, and it's been quite a struggle getting used to going from coilovers to bags and then having to do a little bit more maintenance in here and that and all that other stuff. But I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind when people consider going either from stock to bags or from coils to bags is, am I going to still be able to daily this car? Especially for those like me who only drive one car. It's like, okay, I could buy the bags, like I could have afforded that, but is it something that's practical for daily use? So I'm going to explain that to you. Now, before I go into the whole thing about all the different points, like here, I guess it's like a disclaimer. You obviously want your bags, either you installed them correctly or whoever did it, like, be done correctly in order for you to obviously daily it. So that's the first disclaimer. And hopefully, if you do want to daily it, you have like a little bit of car knowledge. Like I'm pretty damn stupid in all this stuff, but I have enough to like essentially kind of fix whatever little things I do for my bags. So after
you water in his headlight.
So after months of not filming or anything or not keeping up with YouTube, within that time I've bagged this car. So we are on Airlift Performance parts everywhere. So Airlift Performance struts, front and rear, and Airlift 3P management with a 5-gallon tank and just one compressor. A really nice and simple setup just for air. So I've had the bags for about like 4 months or something, and I've been driving on it obviously daily, and I went on quite a few trips with them, a couple PA and back. I actually went to H2O and back on these two, and I've had absolutely no issue with them. So me personally, I feel like it's great for daily use, but there are a couple of things to keep in mind when you do want to do that. So some of the things that I've kept in mind, especially while dailying, is essentially like everybody that buys air, they always get like a little handbook or manual with it. Make sure you keep track of that and actually follow the rules on it. I know a lot of people, they don't follow it with like the right air ride height or whatever it is, or the right PSI for it, and they end up blowing a bag or something like that later on, and they're like, oh, I don't know why it happened, and it's like, oh, you weren't riding on the right PSI. Obviously something was going to break eventually if you kept riding on it. Obviously once in a while, if you're going to go a little bit lower than you should be, then sure, why not? Especially if you're at a car show or something like that. Yeah, that point doesn't matter. If you're dailying it, then I would strongly not recommend doing that. Another one of the things to keep in mind, especially if you're going on aftermarket wheels like me here, is to make sure that you have to make sure that it obviously has good clearance and that it fits properly. You obviously don't want a wheel that's gonna, rub against your bag or anything like that, and obviously cause a hole or anything, right? Something else to keep in mind, especially if you live in a colder region and you decided to go on air, do not air out overnight. Like, people have said this constantly, it's always reposted and stuff like that. Do not air out overnight. You don't want your lines freezing up, and if you have to go to work in the morning tomorrow, you don't want to have to wait the extra time for it to like obviously unfreeze or anything like that. Keep it aired up at whatever ride height you have or the high preset that you might have, and just be fine the next day. And also with airing out overnight, you don't want to have to turn the compressor on the next following day when you air the car back up and have the compressor obviously freeze or anything like that. If you're dailying the car, do not drive like an idiot, obviously. Me being in Jersey.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a minute. Did you just say don't drive like an idiot?
Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me explain my fucking
Boy, do I have a story for you guys.
Let me explain my point though.
All right.
So I live in Jersey, right? And Jersey is known for having some of the worst roads in the country. And on top of that, I go to school in Newark, which is probably one of the worst cities that has the worst roads here, right? And I drive this thing there on a daily basis. You obviously don't want to go 60 miles per hour into some deep ass pothole into the road and pop a bag, bend a wheel, all that other expensive stuff. Another thing that helped motivate me in buying my own bags is that I have a lot of friends that are on air around here. And it made me think that, oh, if I do happen to get stuck, let's say if something, you know, does break or anything like that, because obviously it does happen. If something were to break, I do have friends that could always help me out on the go. Let's say like my compressor or something goes, it doesn't build as much air that I need it to. Somebody could come by, get theirs in or plugged in, and then, you know, we're ready to go. Or if my controller stops working, could borrow somebody else's controller. Anything like that, it would always help. Or even for like smaller bits, parts of for any other like bits or parts that I might need, somebody might always have it on them, like either a fitting or something like that, just in case there's something else were to break. And one of the last and probably the biggest key points that I want to make is that make sure you're investing in good parts. Like, don't go like either. I mean, you can if you want to get used parts if it's really that good of a deal for you. I would kind of avoid those deals because you don't know what's happened with those bags or anything like that prior. So investing in good parts is always a really good thing. Obviously, when you buy quality parts, they'll last for as long as you need them to, which is why I did the same thing. I did get them for a little bit cheaper, obviously, but essentially, like, investing in good parts with either Airlift or any other good company that makes really good air suspension parts. So hopefully this video kind of was a little bit helpful. I know it was all over the place, but if I'm able to do it as kind of like a college kid that goes to school on a daily basis, goes to work and all that other stuff, and I still daily this car, you could definitely do it. And also me being in a colder region too. And yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you to the whore Mustafa here for filming.
Please don't get bags. Don't do it. Don't do it,
no,
please.
He's asked me and he's considered it multiple times.
That's only for the Hellcat. For our Hellcat. The next video, Smith and I buy a Hellcat.
Oh my god. And yeah, hopefully I start making more consistent content after this. And I'll see you guys in the next one.